Hello again. This is John Paval with Access Arts Live. We had some technical problems. We're restarting now to give you the weekend lineup of live performing arts that we found for you this weekend. They're coming to you from music in Pyeongchang, the Daegwon Ryong Music Festival. They're coming to you from the Lakes Area Music Festival in Brainerd, Minnesota, from the Classic Tahoe Festival in Tahoe, Nevada, and from down under on the Australian Digital Concert Hall. And we have chamber music, we have opera singing, we have orchestral works, we have choral works. So we have the works this weekend. Everything except dance and theater, but we are going to get to that. I promise you, the day is coming. So let's start out right away. I'm going to give these to you in the actual timing and the global clock as they come. And since we're bouncing from Korea to Minnesota, which is Central Daylight Time in the U.S., to Tahoe, which is Pacific Daylight Time, then down under, and also to New Zealand, which is like 2 hours ahead of Australia, which is 8 hours ahead of Europe. There's a lot of different times. We will give you all of the dates and the precise times and the list of where they are in the different time zones, and you figure out which ones you can tune into, depending on how much you might want to hear these different concerts and enjoy them, well, see them as well. So we start out on Friday with the Casals Quartet from Pyeongchang, Korea, and followed by opera from the Lakes area, Minnesota, and finally symphonic works about nature from Classical Tahoe. Music in Pyeongchang brings you a live stream of the Casals Quartet. They've been around since 1997. They've recorded all of Bach's Art of the Fugue. They are just finishing up recording all of Shostakovich's quartets coming out this fall. And they've played at all the top concert halls in the world. They've been going very strong. And by coincidence, what are they doing? Well, they're going to be doing selection counter melody number 14 from Bach's Art of the Fugue. They'll be doing Shostakovich's String Quartet number 15. They'll do a Mozart string quartet in C major called Dissonance. And they'll be doing a piece by a contemporary composer, Sofia Gubadulina, called Reflections on the Theme of Bach. So that's something that you want to tune into if you get this notice in time. We told you about it on Wednesday, though, in a special live stream that we put together just for the Pyeongchang and the Lakes Area Music Festival, which we just discovered on Tuesday. Okay, next up then is the Lakes Area Music Festival, A Night at the Opera. This is going to be one of those things that people do, which is, how do I put this? It's their Lake Area Music Festival is like many of these summer festivals. It's a music festival with concerts, but it's also training and mentoring for young musicians who have finished their basic schooling at Juilliard or Eastman or wherever that happens to be, mostly at top places, and sometimes finish graduate work as well. And they're starting to have their first few jobs out in the industry, at the lower level of it. So some of these are very interesting people that are going to be stars in the future. You never know. This will be live streamed on YouTube and on Facebook. Lakes Area live streams on both of them. It's free of charge, as the Pyongyang concerts are, which are also on YouTube. And the conductor for this evening of great moments in opera history is Stefano Flavoni. And although he's only been an assistant conductor, he's been an assistant conductor at the States Opera in Hamburg, at the Philharmonic States Opera in Hamburg, and at the Bavarian States Opera. You know how the Germans love their operas. So the guy's probably on the ball and will be well guiding these youngins who are being mentored at the same time, of course, by some experts that make sure they do their absolute best. Okay, then the third piece on Friday, we move all the way forward to 7 in the evening Pacific Daylight Time. 10 in the evening Eastern Daylight Time, which will be 4 in the morning in Europe, and noon Australian Eastern Summer Time. So Saturday noon in Australia. Classical Tahoe plays a concert called Nature's Inspiration. It includes a piece that they've been playing in Europe and in Australia too, in recent live streams by Lily Boulanger, the older sister of Nadia, who died so sadly at the age of 24 after winning the Prix de Rome, which no woman composer had ever won, and after writing lovely pieces like D'un matin du printemps, of a spring morning. And then so that's, nature. And then they'll play Vivaldi's Four Seasons with a narrator and Beethoven's Symphony No. 4. It's nature, nature, nature. The violinist is Laura Hamilton, who has long been, she was an associate concertmaster with the New York Met for over 30 years. She's a concertmaster for City Music Cleveland now. It's one of those conductorless chamber orchestras which have been popping up. And the conductor is Eric Jacobson, who besides being a cellist, or besides being a conductor, is a cellist. He's been the music director at Orlando Phil for 10 years. He's now also the music director at the Virginia Symphony. He does interesting things. He founded and plays with an avant-garde New York City-based chamber orchestra called the Knights. They have recently done, or may still be doing, a residency at Carnegie Hall. And he's working, for instance, on an album with Bella Fleck, which will be Rhapsody in Blue. Gershwin played on the banjo. So, interesting guy. So that's it for Friday, okay? And you check any one of them out. There, we gave you the sequence and times of day. I'll give them to you again in American time zones, where most of our followers are. That's at, what are the American times? That's 7 in the morning. The first one, music in Pyeongchang, 7 in the morning Eastern Daylight Time, 4 a.m. on the West Coast. You probably won't watch it. The Lakes Area Music Festival, though, is at 7:30 Central Daylight Time in the evening, 5:30 on the West Coast, and 8:30 on the East Coast. And then a very late 2:30 in the morning on the in Europe, and 10:30 in the morning Saturday in Australia. And I think noon or half past noon in New Zealand, just a couple hours ahead of Australia. Okay, and the Classical Tahoe is Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 10 in the evening Eastern Daylight Time, 4 in the morning in Europe, and noon on Saturday in Australia. We move on to Saturday's concerts. We have, again, an opera competition from the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra. We've got an orchestral concert all about Beethoven from Pyeongchang, and we've got dramatic orchestral works, real crowd pleasers, you might say, of a certain kind, from Classical Tahoe. So we start with the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra, the Lexus Songquest grand finale of this competition. The 5 finalists will be singing. It's Saturday, August 3rd, 7:30 in the evening in New Zealand. That's 9:30 in the morning in Europe. That's 3:30 in the morning on the East Coast, but it's late night, Friday night on the West Coast. So if you're in LA and you're up late at 12:30, you can tune in. It's free of charge. We give you the link. It's on the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra's own link, and you can subscribe to them if you want to see all of their regular concerts. They live stream about one a month, and it's the equivalent cost you about $6 or US dollars or €5 to tune in, and it could be worth it to you to hear one nice concert a month. They're pretty good. Anyway, the judge of this, let me just tell you that one of the people who won this Songquest in the past was Dame Kiri Tekanawa, and her foundation co-sponsors it now. And the head judge is a Grammy Award-winning Korean coloratura soprano, Sumi Jo. So then, next after that, comes from Pyeongchang Festival, comes a concert called The Emperor and the Hero. Why? Well, they're doing Beethoven's Piano Concerto, number 5, which is the Emperor Concerto. And then the second half, they'll do Beethoven's Symphony number 3, which is the Heroic Symphony. And what's interesting about this in particular is that, this again is one of these festivals where they do concerts. They bring in top musicians from around the world to do the concerts, but also to mentor their younger people. And this time, the guy doing the mentoring is Enrico Pace, or Enrico Pace, might actually be the correct way to pronounce that. And he's been around for 40 years. He won he's the pianist. He won the Franz Liszt competition in Utrecht in 1989, and just it's been glory, glory, glory ever since. We've seen him in Stockholm with the Stockholm Royal Symphony, working with Leonidas Kavakos, and those guys apparently like to work together. He plays all over with top orchestras. And the nice thing about this Korean thing is that in the comment section, sometimes if you watch it, they will have a really great moderator who'll give you all the background about Enrico that I'm not going to give you now, because I figure tune into the live stream and you can get it. All right. Then the third concert on Saturday is the Classical Tahoe finale with the acclaimed countertenor Anthony Roth Costanzo. That's on Saturday, 7 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time, which would be 10 in the evening on the East Coast, 4 in the morning in Europe, so you probably won't watch that. But it's noontime on Sunday for those of you in Australia, and I think 2 in the afternoon, or 1 or 2 in the afternoon for New Zealand. Don't quote me on that. The conductor is Eric Jacobson, whom I just mentioned to you earlier. And who is Anthony Roth Costanzo? Well, Le Monde in Paris says he's the perfect musician. And the New York Times says he's vocally brilliant and dramatically fearless. So he comes highly recommended. He's been singing and acting since he was 11 years old. He's done opera, concerts, recitals, films. He's been on Broadway. He's won a Grammy for Best Opera Recording of Philip Glass's Akhenaten, which is very modern but very operatic. He went to Princeton for his schooling, then the Manhattan School of Music, and then they ended up giving him an honorary PhD on top of that. And he won the Beverly Sills Award from the New York Met Opera in 2020. So he's done everything. Now, they'll do a couple of pieces which he's not involved in, Ravel's Le Tombeau de Couperin and Strauss's Le Bourgeois Gentilhomme, suite with the narration. Now, if you don't know the story of the Bourgeois Gentilhomme, Strauss couldn't figure out whether he wanted to write an opera or whether he wanted to write a theater piece with music. And as he got going, he ended up doing both. And then after that was done, not entirely satisfied with either one, then he wrote this suite based on the music from both of them. And subsequently, people put narration to it. That's what this is. So they'll have a narrator. But then there are 3 pieces involving Costanzo. First, extracts from Vivaldi's Orlando Furioso. And if there is a composer who strikes me as being ideal for countertenors, it would be someone like Vivaldi. Then he'll be singing Venga Pur from Mozart's Mithridat. And finally, he'll be singing Duke Ellington's Sophisticated Lady in an arrangement by Morton Gould. So might be worth tuning into that. Again, that's on YouTube. Classic Tahoe is on YouTube, just as Pyeongchang. Sorry, I'm not Korean. This is all new to me. So it could be worth tuning into. If you tune into any of these links that are on YouTube, Access Art Live is likely to be there. And we would love it if you would say hello and let us know if you're there, because we told you about it. We can't get enough interaction, and we don't get a lot, but we're just starting. Okay, finally on Sunday, we have 2 more pieces for you to watch. First comes from on the Australian Digital Concert Hall, the Australian Boys Choir, which has been around since 1939. And they're doing, as Australians love to do, some lovely, very British pieces, Benjamin Britten's Hymn to St. Cecilia and Rejoice in the Lamb. They'll be doing Ralph Vaughan Williams' 5 mystical songs, from whence comes, they titled this concert, Mystical Songs. And then they'll be doing something, I think this is very interesting, by Alice Chance. And she's like a 30-year-old young Australian woman composer who just finished up a master's in composition at the Paris music school, the Alfred Cortot Music School over there on, what is that part of town? What do you call it? It's over there near Villiers, if you know where that is, in that part of town in Paris. Anyway, and she lives between Paris and Gadigaland, which is Sydney in Australia. And so this is a chance to discover a new young composer who we imagine is very refreshing to discover. After that, there is then the Lakes Area Music Festival concert called Thrills and Superheroes. And this is a crowd pleaser. It's billed as enjoyable for kids of all ages. But if you're one of those adults who doesn't want to be a kid of any age, then you might not like it. It's just like, what is that? I mean, if you're really hardcore, come on, I want classical stuff. Don't, give me some Schubert or whatever. Because this is, it's all about superhero music, popular superhero music played by an orchestra. It includes Russell Peck's The Thrill of the Orchestra, John Williams' Superman March, and a piece by Michael Giacchino in credits from The Incredibles. The conductor is Christian Reif, who, although German, he's all over the place. He spent 3 years as a resident conductor at the San Francisco Symphony and as director of their youth orchestra. So it makes sense he'd be playing a youth concert here too. He's worked, sort of has a working thing going with the Orchestra Nationale de Lyon in Lyon, France, where they're working on a Beethoven project. And another project with the San Francisco Symphony and the Soundbox program, working with soprano Julia Bullock. He's participated in Lincoln Center's Mostly Mozart Festival. And well, the interesting thing about him, too, is that he studied with Alan Gilbert at the Juilliard School. And well, I mean, Alan, if you know Alan Gilbert, he's the musical director at the Elb Philharmonic now, but he used to be at here in Stockholm at the Stockholm Royal Symphony. And I saw him pull things. It's a very talented orchestra, and they regularly live stream. So you might check out the Stockholm Royal Symphony website to see when they are doing some of their free live streams, because they give their live streams away for free. I'm just double checking to see if we heard from Alice Chance, because I sent her an email via her website. Said, do you have anything you want to tell our people when I do this talk, and tell them about what's coming up? And no, I did not hear back from her. So sorry, I tried. One of these days we will. And one of these days we're going to start doing interviews with interesting people, hopefully with innovative young. I love people who are 27 to 35 years old. I absolutely love them. They're old enough that they know how to do things, but they're not so old that they've learned what you can't do. They don't have that expertise weighing them down, or that hoity-toity, I'm the expert. They're just, their minds are open. If you have to do something, they say, yeah, okay, well, let me see how I do it. Anyway, so that's the lineup for all of today. As usual, we want to remind you, we would love it if a few more of you will go on Facebook and follow the Access Arts Live page. We need a few more followers so we can recover our ability to live stream on Facebook, which we used to have. Then they raised the number of followers we needed and bumped us off. So now we live stream on YouTube, on Twitch, on Instagram, and on X, and that's it. And then if you're watching this on TikTok or on Threads, you're probably watching a replay of this a little later than when we actually run it. And we would like to get set up to have all of these platforms, running live at the same time, reaching as many people as possible. Why? Well, listen, millions of people view viral videos. And when I say millions, I mean 10, 20, 30, 40 million people have viewed TikTok or YouTube videos of people doing opera singing or ballet dancing. There's over 100 million people viewed of a quartet playing Vivaldi, of all things. So I think there's a hunger out there, but I'm telling you, I've been in touch with some of these people that are doing live streaming and all these some of the websites, and they don't know how to market it. People haven't figured out how. And I think one of the reasons they haven't is because they don't have somebody like me that's just chatting and talking with people like a normal human being. It's all very formalized and all. A lot of people in the mass audience, they can't relate to that. Or if they need something more interactive, and we're going to work towards getting that. And I think another reason is they don't differentiate their product. They bury their live streams in mountains of recordings. And they even create misdirection, which to me is dishonest, where they mix up actual live streams with premieres, which are just recordings, that they haven't put up before. Well, that's not a live stream. It shouldn't even be on your live agenda. And they'll put it in there. And then people will think, oh, this is live because it's starting tonight. No, Stage Plus does that all the time. And I've written to them to complain, but who am I? I mean, I'm John Paval. Nobody in the world of the performing arts. Anyway, that's that. what we're trying to do is gather more and more of these millions and tens and hundreds of millions of people who love the performing arts to follow the live streams that are being done. Because if just a fraction of them start doing that, it will revolutionize the whole revenue system for the performing arts. More and more orchestras, opera houses, dance houses, and theaters will start live streaming if they know they can reach large numbers of people. I did a pilot project for with some co-financing from the European Union, and we were thrilled. This is back in 2019 to get like 1 million views on social media. But you can get a lot more than that. I've got a marketing guy in Milan tells me, "Oh, John, for such and such amount of money, which is not a terrible, unreasonable amount, I can get you 25 million views on social media and 3 million subscribers." Well, when we get to that point, we'll do that. So thanks again. Ciao for now. Listen, love this weekend. Tune in to some of these free ones. So what have you got to lose? You could be working, doing something. Why not connect with living artists who are pouring out their hearts, minds, and souls for you, the audience, with love? And that's totally different from just watching some recording that's lying around. So why not tune into that and really connect with me and other people like yourself who love it. And please repost our stuff. If you like any of our things, send them to your friends to help us build this network. Okay, I will now shut up. Have a great weekend, and I hope to interchange with a few of you in YouTube comments on some of these concerts this weekend.